Ginger Kedding-Weller. I'm the president of AIIAS, and this is People of AIIAS, the program where we interview some of our students who have wonderful, unique stories here at AIIAS. Today I'm with Andrew Bundi, and Andrew, tell us where you're from and what program you're in.
I am from Kenya, and I'm taking Masters of Arts Religion.
Master of Arts in Religion.
Yes, Biblical Studies
Okay.
at AIIAS Seminary.
Very good. So Andrew, tell me a little bit about God's leading in your life. What is that experience of testimony?
Okay, God's leading in my life. I can say it has to do a lot with academics. Mm-hmm. Yeah, from the age of 12, I was taken to boarding school. My father was a pastor, and he got a transfer. Mm-hmm. So, that means moving to new schools, new places. So I told him I want to go to boarding school, and he took me to boarding school. So since the age of 12, almost 10 months in a year, I've been at school, and only 2 months at home. Yeah. So my experience in school had a very big impact in my life. Mm-hmm. The boarding school I went to, it built me academically well, but also it pushed me to think more about life. The school really emphasized a lot, making it in life, mm-hmm. Becoming a lawyer, becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer. If you didn't do that, you'd not really made it. So that kind of emphasis pushed me to think more about life. I started thinking, no, this is not all to life. And in that process, I started reading religious books. Coming from a pastor's home, there were very many religious books, and I took advantage of that. I started reading Steps to Christ at the age of 14, Great Controversy. Through high school, I kept on that habit. I went through Patriarchs and Prophets, Prophets and Kings, Acts of Apostles. So basically, I went through the Redemption series books in that process. And I can say the Adventist schools that I went to really helped that kind of habit. It's very restricted. You're either in class, or you're out for sports, or you're out for meals. So it was very normal in an Adventist environment before you, like for example, afternoon from 7 to 10 p.m., you are in class, personal study. So it was very normal environment to, spend the first 1 hour on your Bible. People would pray in the first hour. So that kind of environment kept me reading those books every day. I would spend time to read. So in that way, I really got a lot of meaning and understanding of religion from my personal reading. And that's what interested, I started getting interest towards theology and religion to find my meaning in life. But all this while, I was really, still because of the environment, I was really focused that I want to do medicine or something that was that prestigious, Yeah, but after high school, I didn't get the grades that I was to get to do those courses under government sponsorship. And so I was a little bit confused about what I wanted to do in life. And in that moment of searching, I started suggesting to my sisters, my mother, my father, maybe I should just do theology, because I have 4 siblings, and of the 4 siblings, I was the only one reading my father's books at home and showing interest. So, but my father was very hesitant. He told me, just do what the government calls you to do. Under government sponsorship, it's cheaper. So in that process, I joined a public university, and I was doing a bachelor degree in radiography for 1.5 years. And in my second year, I got some challenges because we were now getting into more focused courses on the program. And being a new program that was being offered that was the only university offering that program, and it was a very new program with very few personnel. Like the teachers who were teaching us were also working in the big hospitals, with these machines that are very rare in my country. So many of them had to work, and they ended up placing most of their classes on Saturday. So I got a challenge with many of my classes, coming on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then from Monday to Thursday you're free, nothing, no classes. So it was very challenging. I wrote letters and tried to complain, but I soon realized there's nothing that was going to happen. Classes were going on. I'd missed almost 2 months of classes because they were coming on Saturday. So I really thought, and it was not easy calling your father and telling him, hey, I don't see if this is going to happen. And this is the time I told him maybe I should do what I was thinking about, doing theology. And my father was courageous enough, I can say, to tell me, okay, you pack, I'll come and pick you up. In the middle of the semester, he packed and left the program. And that's how I went to Baraton to do theology. It was a good experience, but also I had a lot to learn. I'd not really thought of theology as I knew there was the implication of being a pastor, but I'd not really considered if I was willing to go.
You didn't see the connection between a theology degree and the natural religious scholarship you had done during your teen years. You thought it was just preparation for pastoring. Is that right?
Yeah. For me, when I knew the way I perceived theology was, this is where you get answers to life. It gives you a stronger meaning to life than just, having a good career. And so for me, it was more of I would be doing something that something that gave me comfort.
Would feed you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all this while I knew it meant being a pastor, but I had not really made a very serious consideration about that. But once I got to Baraton University, that's when it dawned on me, yes, you are a pastor. And I really tried my best to embrace that. It was a very good experience. Something I realized is how theology really depends on language, communication. You really need to know how to read. In the sciences, it was more of a very straightforward, it's either black or white. But here, you're now dealing with interpretation, assumptions, and now all classes you had to write research papers, so it was a lot of communication, argument. So these are things that I really had to learn, and I enjoyed learning them. And in that process, that's how two of my teachers were former alumni here. And so when you're students, you're also curious about your teachers. I found out about that, and I started Googling about AIIAS. And I learned a lot about AIIAS just from the website and the materials. And that's something I like about AIIAS, is that I could understand the whole process from, how to register and traveling, what is needed, which houses you'll stay in, programs you'll do just from the website. And that's something it made it very easy. And that's how I finally
started to dream to come here.
Yes.
And continue in your academic pursuit.
Yes.
Now, as we were talking before the interview, you said to me that there were professors in your undergraduate who recognized that you were a scholar and gave you a chance to try that out. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. After I finished my undergraduate program, I passed well, and the department of theology in my university was having a lot of students coming for certificates and diploma programs, and that was a lot of work on the teachers. So after I graduated, my department chair called me and he asked me to help them as a teaching assistant for 1 year. And the experience was, you were just from class to teaching. So it was a very interesting experience. And I discovered as a teacher, what you learn in a semester teaching is more than what you learn as a student in class.
Yes.
So it was a very wonderful experience. Yeah, and the way I enjoyed it, yeah, teaching is something I would like to do more.
Very good. I hear in your description that you have a talent for scholarship and academia, so I'm glad you're here in this program.
Yes.
At AIIAS, part of our mission is that we develop leaders. So can you talk a little bit about what your experience has been with the development for leadership as it's integrated into your program here?
Yes. One thing I realized in leadership, especially ministry, is communication. Being able to persuade the people you lead to do, a particular goal. So in AIIAS, that I've seen that aspect really emphasized, especially with how the classes are made. You have to do a research paper and you have to present it to the class. And they question you and ask questions about what you have presented. So you really have to be very clear and very good, articulate in what you're saying. So that aspect of communication and being clear is an aspect that I feel AIIAS has developed in me. It has given me more opportunity to do that kind of communication.
I think that's so interesting, and it's unique about AIIAS too, because the institutions I have experienced have certainly not had you turn in a research paper, but then also present it and be questioned about it by your class. That's such an interesting and I think a really good approach to learning, to helping you to articulate your ideas very clearly. And also, with many of our students, we are building the faculty of the future. So it gives you a chance to articulate ideas that are not easy ideas.
Yes, and also, in theology, ministry, we learn not just for our fellow academia, we also really want to reach the audience, the members, be able to encourage them in the search of truth in the Bible. So I think also that's a very important skill that is being developed.
So the inclusion of leadership in mission and ministry as well.
Yes.
Wonderful. Andrew, thank you so much for sharing your story and your experience and a little more insight into AIIAS with us. I really appreciate it. May God bless you as you finish your program.
Thank you for the opportunity.